Hey guys, welcome back to the Friday Vlog, where we discuss activity that goes on here with the BuzWeaver channel. That includes things like current events, headlines that are in the news, pop culture, social media, technology, and items of interest that come up during the week that allow us to have a little bit of a dialogue. I want to welcome all of you guys from New Tech and, of course, all of you here on YouTube for your guys' continued support.
We start things off concerning Turning Point USA. Now, Turning Point USA, or Turning Point, is an American nonprofit organization that advocates for conservative values on high school, college, and university campuses. And you may have heard a little bit about this because, of course, The View has issued yet another formal correction, 3 in total, by the way, to TPUSA and its students live on air. The apology was issued by Sarah Haynes. Whoopi remained silent and has not retracted her comments that TPUSA metaphorically embraced an organization out of World War II. And basically, this is very typical of what we talk about here on the BuzWeaver channel. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel because we talk about these topics. Today, we're going to review many of those. So if you're new to the channel, this is going to be a great highlight for you to see the things that we cover here on the BuzWeaver channel, and your support is always appreciated. So essentially what happened was, as is typical, and because we're in a midterm, the Democrats, the outrage mobs, cancel culture, and all their ilk are all trying to point fingers and do guilt by association for any conservative groups, any political groups not affiliated with the left, so forth and so on. And so they have attacked this conservative organization to suggest that they are affiliated with and or participate with these groups of individuals, as you see the word there in the sentence as outlined by Whoopi Goldberg. And it has been suggested that the producers probably told these individuals of The View, the staff there, that they should not be saying what they should be saying, and therefore they've had to do 3 different retractions. And I think TPUSA should pursue them and sue them, because as we move down the list here, you may remember Nicholas Sandman and the Covington kids, who were also accused, defamed, and slandered there when they were participating in an event there, pro-choice type rallies there in Washington, D.C. with his school, his Catholic school. And he has been suing many of these outlets and celebrities and is continuing to be victorious. Of course, as you may remember, he and his fellow students were minding their own business when Nicholas Sandman came over, or when Nathan Phillips came over, and it was suggested that he was attacking this Native American, and so forth and so on. And of course, none of that happened. They were supposedly shouting MAGA, and the typical things that are typically said. Now, speaking of MAGA, you may also remember another incident that was fabricated. Jesse Smallett trial. Witness says actor staged attack, wanted to be fake beat up. So we have all of these particular stories that have developed over the last 2 years. And the outrage mob and, of course, the wokeness culture, as well as the Democrats now, being so desperate in their midterms, are continuing with these guilt by associations. And you remember the couple out of Missouri, Mark and Patricia McClaskey, who had the BLM people knock down their private gate, well, in their private community there. They knocked down the gate and then walked on the street, said they were just on the sidewalk, well, it was public access, although they knocked down the gate, and then some of them did walk onto their yard, were also criticized, critiqued, and insulted, defamed, undermined, and so forth and so on, as we typically see. Now, one of the most egregious of these was definitely Brett Kavanaugh. Brett Kavanaugh is a Supreme Court justice here in the United States who is continually being attacked and continues to be attacked, despite the fact that there are laws protecting justices, people of the court, witnesses, and others who participate in our legal system from these sorts of attacks, yet it continues. Kavanaugh accuser admits she fabricated allegations as a ploy for attention. That's right. Diane Assault Rifle Feinstein flew out Christine Blasey Ford to basically outline a story that could not be corroborated. There was no witnesses. There was no cross-examination. There was no way to substantiate her accusation, which she now says was fabricated, of course, to smear a Supreme Court justice. And then, of course, no one can forget the fact that for 2.5 years, the Democrats perpetuated a fabricated story about Russian collusion. Mueller Report finds no evidence of Russian collusion. Yet, these things never get looked into. They never get investigated. They're never brought up. They're mentioned maybe on a Friday when it's the least amount of news coverage. so that, of course, the Democrats and so forth can continue on with their little stories. And as you recall, also, a key source for the infamous Trump-Russian dossier is charged with lying to the FBI. That's right. The fabricated story was not only fabricated, it was intentionally, willfully, and deliberately created for the purposes of smearing President Trump. And we already know about all the smearing that goes on with President Trump. Exclusive. FBI finds scant evidence U.S. Capitol attack was coordinated. There was no coordination of an insurrection. There was a group of people there. They got together, and mob mentality set in, and so they just kind of rushed the Capitol. And, of course, there's still the actual investigations that were conducted by the FBI who found scant evidence. But yet the investigation continues as though this is, completely been, hasn't been concluded. And it's absolutely absurd because here we have from CNBC. Senate acquits Trump for inciting Capitol riot even as bipartisan majority votes to convict. So we have the Senate who acquitted Trump of any inciting of the Capitol riot. So why are they continuing? Why are they continuing? Because we see it. Public hearings for the United States Senate or the United States House Select Committee for January 6th. It still continues. And yet, you mean to tell me that the average American, individuals like yourselves who watch the BuzWeaver channel, who are informed, on the cutting edge of societal evolution, you're supposed to believe that none of this happened the way it actually happened, but it's the way the Democrats say it happened. And in reality the thing is, they can't circumvent reality. They can't overcome the evidence. They can't overcome the reality of what is actually happening. But they want everyone to believe that their side of the story is the most correct side of the story. They have the last word. What they say is the truth. They are the arbiters of truth, and they shut people down. They censor. They shame. They ridicule. They persecute. They undermine. They slander. They defame people who do not agree with their agenda. And we know this already. The establishment has appointed Joe Biden through the virtue of mail-in voting, or by virtue of mail-in voting, and they created chaos and disorder within the system. They weren't necessarily intending to get Joe Biden elected. They just wanted to create disorder and chaos in the system because chaos and disorder is what they create. And yesterday, if you guys haven't already, when you go to my main channel, you can see the shorts that I produce. And I made one here on Gavin McInnes, who was the founder of Proud Boys, explaining how he created the Proud Boys as a joke. So here on the BuzWeaver channel, if you are a subscriber, I would suggest that you do. And if you're following on New Tech, many of you on New Tech already know this as well, that it was created as a joke. And yet you never hear cancel culture, the outrage mob, wokeness, progressives, and Democrats actually describe details, specific details about what they're doing or what they're accusing people of doing. You never hear the actual definitive details because they don't want you to know. And so my content is often deranked. It's often pushed down. I'm not a big celebrity person. I'm not mainstream media. So my content isn't as prominent as some of theirs. But nonetheless, guys, that's what I have for you this Friday.
All right, guys, so that's going to wrap it up for this Friday vlog. Thank you for the likes, the shares, and the comments. Below this video, you can find the various social media links that I belong to, where you can see my daily post, as well as the Amazon link if you guys are Prime members or order frequently from Amazon. You guys can use that link, go to the landing page, and search for what you're looking for. And of course, it helps out the channel. Here in 2022, thank you for the likes, the shares, for those on New Tech, as well as here on YouTube, and appearing right there on the screen for all of you watching on YouTube. That would be the channel icon. You can click on that to subscribe, as well as to select notifications. That way you know when there's content here on the channel. And I'll see all you guys right there behind that camera next week.